back like we never left. This is Stef from Double Move Sports, and you're watching the Fantasy Film Room. After a hiatus of breaking down game film with you guys, we are back getting into the nitty-gritty truths of the tape, putting together takes based on analytics and game film to help you win fantasy titles. For those of you who are new to the channel, the Fantasy Film Room started in 2019. We would break down a player's film from one specific game that week and look at what their usage and ability can tell us for the rest of season outlook. Last year we broke down Courtland Sutton, Mark Andrews, and Kareem Hunt with the Browns. Also, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more fantasy football content. Now let's get into it. When you get into the mid-rounds of your draft, what you're looking for most of the time is upside. Names that you can select with minimal draft capital that will start the season on your bench or in your flex spot, but could have a huge breakout and lead you to a championship. If we're looking for a player who could be the next explosive playmaker like Tyreek Hill or Deshaun Jackson, it's the Ravens' Marquise Brown, who was taken 21st overall in the 2019 NFL Draft. In his rookie season, Hollywood dealt with injuries and actually played the whole season with a nail in his right foot following a Liz Frank surgery. He finished as the wide receiver 46 with 46 receptions, 584 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Fantasy players never knew when to start him on a week-to-week basis, but there are a few things that make him a receiver you should definitely take a shot on in 2020. Right now, Hollywood's ADP is a wide receiver 30, going in the late 6th, early 7th round per Fantasy Pros expert consensus rankings. That means you're essentially getting Brown as your 3rd or 4th wide receiver on your roster. Thought of by most as a deep threat speedster, Hollywood surprised a lot of people with his route running ability at the pro level. The Ravens used Hollywood as a checkdown or quick throw option pretty often. Lamar excels in the short, quick passing game, and Brown is a great weapon for him in those situations. Check out this play. The Ravens trick Stephon Gilmore here, and I think it's a great example of how they get Hollywood open underneath. The third quarter is winding down, Ravens are up 4, and it's 1st and 15. The Ravens line up 5 wide and use what's called a dagger concept. The Ravens send 3 guys deep and 2 across the middle on crossing routes. The Patriots are in man coverage with 1 safety deep and 1 linebacker covering the short middle of the field while keeping an eye on Lamar. Gilmore prepares for Hollywood to run a deep route here, and you can see he's playing off man coverage, leaving a pretty big cushion between him and his man. The idea with off man coverage is to cover deep routes, but does give the receiver more space for shorter routes. And the Ravens take full advantage of this. Gilmore ends up playing it too deep, then gets stuck in traffic, so this dagger worked perfectly as Hollywood just runs a quick slant. Lamar sees the opening, quick pass. Would have loved to see this pass thrown in stride here, but nonetheless, Brown makes the reception, gets upfield for some yak, and then something you're going to see a lot on Hollywood's tape is him trying to avoid hits, and I think that's smart for him to do considering his size and injury history. Here's another one, and we'll get into the deep touchdown passes later, but I don't think people realize how much of Hollywood's production last year came in the quick, short passing game. Think of this as like an ISO in basketball. So Ravens run play action to the right side, 3 more receivers run to the right side, and then they have Hollywood run against the grain here. He's able to get a ton of separation with his speed on this smooth drag route. Per reception perception, Brown had a higher success rate than the NFL average on every route except for the comeback route. Success on a play here means the receiver created at least an arm's length of separation. Hollywood was fantastic at that, and he saw it lead to some really big plays as well. Take this play, for example. Brown is in the slot, which he actually plays in a lot. He lined up in the slot on 22% of his snaps, and it's for this very reason. He runs a corner route here to the end zone, and for the first half of this route, it's a linebacker on him. He's playing zone coverage, and then he passes Brown off to the deep safety, but by then it's already too late. Brown's wide open. Lamar makes a gorgeous throw as he gets hit. 9 PPR points on this 20-yard touchdown reception. Here's another one. Same type of situation. Corner route against zone. Brown takes off right away, makes the corner commit to running with him, and then the corner peels off to let the safety take over, but by then it's too late. Brown is wide open. Not the best throw either, but beautiful toe tap in the back of the end zone. There's another 9 fantasy points. One thing that stands out when we look at receivers near Brown's ADP is a scoring opportunity he has as the top guy on the depth chart in Baltimore, one of the most electric offenses in the league. In 2019, the Ravens were the highest scoring offense in the league. They led the NFL in points per drive, yards per drive. Lamar Jackson led the league in touchdown percentage. And Hollywood Brown reaped the benefits, scoring on 10% of his 69 targets. That was the second highest touchdown rate among wide receivers. What's crazy is with all the good, there was still some bad in there. There were actually a lot of missed opportunities between Hollywood Brown and Lamar Jackson. This one is on 1st and 10, game still 0-0, and the Ravens get a one-on-one matchup on the perimeter, and this is just a 9 route. This is backyard football, just beat your man with speed. Brown does get a little bit of separation at the top of the route. Would love to see him get a little bit more there, but the ball gets way overthrown. Their feet get tangled up, but this did not stop them from going for it again. Now this one is early second quarter. It's 2nd and 5. I love the play design against this coverage. They send Hollywood in motion, and because these defenders are in zone here, number 21, the corner, has 2 guys attacking his zone. I think Lamar recognizes this. He goes through his progressions, and then he's trying to see where this corner is going to play. Sometimes this actually stinks because the defender can cover 2 receivers at once. But look right here. This is about when Jackson throws the ball. We got Hollywood with nobody on him. Now putting his arm up saying, look, I'm open, I'm open. Lamar just barely throws it a little too far out of bounds. I believe this play could have gone for 6. At least nice to see that Brown's still able to bring the ball in, even though it was out of bounds. But I think this is where the Ravens are like, oh, hey, we can get this done. We just got to tighten the screws a little bit more. Last one from this game. This one is 9 minutes left, 1st and 10. This is where it finally comes together. Hollywood gets behind the defender. The defender's still watching the quarterback. He hesitates for a quick second. Hollywood gets that separation. Lamar squeezes this one into a tight window, back shoulder. The hands are tremendous. Gets the toe tap, 31-yard reception, and out of bounds to stop the clock. These are really the type of plays that we expect when we think of Hollywood Brown. I think we're going to see a lot more of these in the future. This one, the ball's just thrown behind him. Brown doesn't get enough separation. He needs to learn to make space. He's not going to be like a Cortland Sutton or an AJ Green where he's using his body to box out defenders. Got to attack the ball with the hands there. Cut on some slack for his first year in the league, but I'm expecting Brown to improve with these type of plays. And again, from a game script perspective, things couldn't have been worse for Marquise Brown because they essentially didn't need to use him in Baltimore. The Ravens only played from behind for 8 minutes and 44 seconds per game. That's number 1 in the NFL by over 3 minutes per game. And that's actually a positive for all of the Ravens pass catchers, as Lamar Jackson will need to pass more if the Ravens aren't as dominant. Think back to that playoff loss against the Titans where they went down in the second half and Lamar Jackson had 59 pass attempts. That was the 7th most pass attempts ever in a playoff game. Hollywood Brown was heavily relied upon and made some incredible plays. In that game, he saw 11 targets, caught 7 of them for 126 yards. That's a tremendous 18 yards per reception. And here's the play. One of the best catches of the 2019 season, I think. Excellent throw from Jackson. Then the one-handed grab in traffic. Takes a big hit too. Holds onto the ball. These are the plays that should have us extremely excited for Hollywood Brown as football fans and fantasy players. So the game scripts could make Brown an even more relied upon piece of this offense. And if the Ravens and Lamar Jackson remain as dominant on the ground, then you still get the weekly upside just like last season. And Brown has been putting in some major work this offseason. And if you want to make a league-winning pick in the mid-rounds on draft day, Brown is where you should be going with your selection. Thanks for watching. If you like the show, please hit that subscribe button. That is huge for us. A like is always appreciated if you really did enjoy it. And if you have any start-sit questions, dynasty questions, want trade advice, drop it in the comments down below or hit us up on Twitter. Peace.